Let's now talk about some alternatives to the traditional language testing methods. There has been a strong criticism against various methods of language testing which has worked traditionally, including standardized testing. The major reason behind such criticism has been that the testing industry has become a powerful influence on the decisions about people's lives and their futures. Therefore, people believe that such testing measures or assessment measures should be introduced, which could complement or replace the traditional language testing methods. Some people accept the results of such methods, others deny them or consider them invidious, illegal, or counterproductive to their future growth. All tests are related to the one aspect or one element of assessment, because assessment is a broader concept. It is not reduced to the tests only. So there could be other measures which may be introduced. There has been a strong debate during 1990s that all traditional tests may not be useful in measuring all skills, especially language skills of all the people at the same time. So there is something more to be done or more needed in order to assess students properly and in detail. And there was a talk about the alternatives to traditional testing, and we call this movement now alternative assessment. Some of the common characteristics of all the measures which has been introduced or suggested as alternative assessment include that they ask students to perform, create, produce, or do something instead of just spelling out their crammed material. They have to perform something. They have to create something in form of language they have learned. And students are expected, test takers are expected to use real-world situations instead of bookish or book-based knowledge only. Such tests or such alternative assessment are also non-intrusive because they extend to day-to-day classroom activities, and they also focus on assessing students in their normal activities. What they do normally is assessed by the teachers in the classroom. They use tasks which are coupled with detailed instructional activities, and they learn through fun, and they are also assessed while they are performed certain activities as advised by the teacher. Students also focus on the process. The assessment judges or assesses the process as well. Previously, it was a product which was primarily and solely focused upon. Such alternative assessment also tap into higher level of thinking or critical thinking, which is a very good sign. And they provide information about both the strengths and weaknesses of the students. So these alternative assessments are designed on the way in which we can decide about or know about students' strengths as well as weaknesses as compared to the traditional testing patterns where we only know their grading, a general idea about their ability, not their specific strengths and weaknesses. Such alternative assessments are also multiculturally sensitive. They consider students' cultural background as well. And they also ensure that it's the people who rate those tests, who check those tests, and not the machines. They also encourage an open disclosure of the standards or the criteria on which the assessment would be made. These are few of the key features of the alternative assessments. Let's now look at some of the popular modes of these alternative assessments. Portfolio comes first. Portfolios are prepared by students themselves, and they include essays and compositions, a report and project details, poetry and creative prose, that includes creative writing or creative speaking as well. Then artwork, photos, magazines, information, and audio or video recording of the student's own presentation. Student can keep them as a record and make a portfolio of them. Journals, diaries, and their personal reflections can also be included. A record of their own test scores, homework exercises, and notes on teachers' lectures. All these could be formulated in form of portfolios, which may be assessed by the teachers on regular basis. Teachers could guide their students by looking into the portfolios prepared by their students. Journals include an account of students' own reflections, thoughts, reactions, suggestions, and their progress towards the learning goals as they assess these goals themselves in the light of a teacher's guidance. A journal helps learners articulate their thoughts about their language learning, and they could do so without any serious threat to them in relation to their fear of being judged. So students could write without the fear of being judged in their journals, and teacher could interact with their students while providing them a feedback on their journals without judging them. This could produce an intrinsic motivation among learners, which could be genuinely healthy for their future learning.